Welcome everyone, I am your host Shagwell and Bullock, or you can call me Shaggy, and this is a trip down Stoner Drive. Now if you haven't heard this podcast before, it is a podcast to give people a voice to tell their story as a patient, as a distribution, brand, musician, politician, and give them a platform to tell how cannabis has positively or even maybe negatively impacted their life. And it's a way to give you a behind the scenes of the industry or the culture around cannabis. Welcome everyone. I am your host Shagwell and Bullock, and this is a trip down Stoner Drive. I'm so excited because this is Dabsmas, the Heady Holiday, aka 710, and we are at Farmers Cup, where I'll be interviewing brands, distributions, patients, and we got amazing exotic cars, music, everything. I'm so excited to have my guests here to talk about their brand Paradox, which is some of the best rosin that I've had. So thanks for being on the show, and if you could introduce yourself.
Absolutely. My name is Chris. I am the lab manager for Paradox. That's it, really. We just make hash and rosin. Super simple.
So how long has Paradox been around?
Paradox has been around since last year, probably early last year. They kind of went through the trenches, as far as, sourcing and all that good stuff, getting good material for hash and all that, and then they finally started picking up towards the end of the year, and that's kind of when I came in and took over the lab operation, really.
Now, what got you into the cannabis industry? Or how long have you been into the cannabis?
A long time. I've been into cannabis since I was 13. I'm 35 now. I got into the cannabis industry probably when I was about maybe 24. So I did extraction before, so I basically grew up kind of poor. I didn't have any money for like good weed or extracts, right? So I'd just get trimmed for free and I'd open blast it. I was part of that whole little group of open blasting, right?
Okay,
before it was even popular, right? So I did that for a little bit. Scared the fuck out of myself with some butane, right? And never touched it for like 5 years after that.
Did you have it inside during that scare?
Yeah, dumbass. So I was doing it for like probably 4 years before that. So I got super comfortable like an idiot, right? And unfortunately I did have a crazy fire in my living room. It was contained, nothing happened, nobody was hurt, nothing was burned down, thank God. But it really fucking taught me a lot, right? So didn't touch that shit for like 4 or 5 years, and my buddy hit me up about doing some distillation stuff and like more chemistry stuff, right? So I got into distillation. They taught me that whole little ethanol extraction within a week. I went out to San Diego, did the whole lab thing. I actually got back into fucking butane, closed loop, and I was doing it like pretty fucking big, a lot bigger than a Pyrex dish, right?
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is, dude, is like since that shit happened, it made me like the safety manager, right? You know what I mean? So I was in there like making sure everybody was super safe, nobody had no leaks. Like they just understood that you're dealing with a motherfucking bomb.
You became OSHA.
Dude, it's funny you say that because I literally told them I'm the OSHA manager. I'm in here to fucking inspect you guys every single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I used to call myself that 100% OSHA manager. So I did that for a little bit. Unfortunately, we all run into problems with law enforcement, so that stopped real fucking quick as far as black market goes. I shied away from it for a couple years, did more consulting, and then I just kind of been getting back into like the legal side. And I found this thing just kind of dropped in my lap, to be honest.
So is this first big company you've been with since entering the legal side?
Yeah, for sure. I went with like a couple different small companies, like maybe 2019, but just like a lot of them, they went out of business, that investment.
I mean, it definitely happens. And so what got you to choose Paradox, or what got you interested in Paradox?
I actually know two of the people that are like originals and almost owners in the company. They just hit me up. They kind of knew my experience and background, and one of the main extractor that was in there before, he was leaving for some family issues, and they wanted to get somebody in there that they kind of trusted. So he brought me up, and I knew them from an original operation that I worked with them before in the white market in Mexico. So yeah, they hit me up, and the rest is kind of history. I learned their whole operation in like a week as far as like washing and pressing, and we've just been we've just been doing good ever since, man.
What has been some of your favorite strains or products that you put out?
So we had some Sour Jack GDP that I mixed, right? It was real low yielding as far as the hash goes, so we didn't really get a lot of it. It was test runs. We still had enough to do like some vape carts, right? So we did a real small run of some vape carts. We actually entered it into the last Farmer's Cup.
Okay.
And it won a few different first places. That's probably been my favorite, one of my favorite strains. And then Super Lemon Haze, we just entered into this cup. It's pretty fucking dark, you know, for a lot of people. However, if you were to taste it with a blindfold on, you would never know, right? It has that old school like sour diesel jack taste.
And for me, that's more, I mean, the color tells you a little bit, but for me, it's more the taste, the punch, the effect than it is on the color.
Than anything, yeah.
Because, I mean, yeah, some people that can just add things to change the color as well. So.
And you get color remediation. I mean, even with rosin, you can color remediate it if you wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It constantly happens.
Exactly. So, which, I mean, it's cool. You do a lot of different other products, but essentially that Super Lemon Haze, I would say, is probably my number one for sure. And then this Fatso we just came out with, honestly, I'm an OG fan, and that shit's really heavy and it smacks you.
Oh, I'm loving the Fatso. I actually just did a dab of that just outside, so I'm feeling really good. Nice, chill, body relaxing, and great conversation as well. So do you guys do wax and cartridges? What do you prefer making, the rosin or the cartridges?
I prefer the rosin for sure, just because it's just super fire. Not to say that the carts aren't fire, you know what I mean? But there's just nothing better than just that raw product, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You have to essentially decarb most of the rosin for the carts, which if you do it right, you can retain a lot of terpenes. You're gonna lose like maybe .something%, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're still losing that percentage, which is why they do fresh frozen versus dried washes, right? To get that small percentage terpenes that you want to stay in there. So I think the rosin for sure.
And then are you guys based only in California or are you in other states right now? All right.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get them though, to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eat in Arizona or everywhere. Wherever we're accepted, we'll go.
Absolutely. And what I love is, unfortunately I don't have a sample here, but they actually shape their rosin so it looks like a pot leaf. And so it's really awesome. I love seeing it. When you open it up, it's just, you look at it and you just know you're going to have a great time. You already said your favorite strain. What has probably been a challenge that you've had to overcome being in the industry, both either on the illegal side or the legal side?
Trustworthy people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good employees, you know, I mean, I come from, you know, lower end jobs, I guess. I wasn't, you know, like I said, I grew up poor, so I've dealt with crappy bosses, crappy ass work, you know, places you just don't want to get up, but you have to because you got bills, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a challenge finding the right people to come into that culture to fit in too. That way we're all, it's cringy and kind of cliche, but we want to be a family. I want people to come to work and be like, I love coming to work. And right now I have that crew finally.
Yeah, and I think that is more important than anything. Coming from a startup company before with therapy, we kind of had a bit of a group, but it took a while. And we're still friends now that it didn't happen. Startups come and go, but it's awesome seeing the connections and we're still working together. So they have a compliance company, I'm getting more into marketing and podcasting, so we're starting to merge and still work together even though we're not part of the same company. So
dude,
it's great.
I have like at least 5 or 6 of my, I guess you call them ex-employees that basically became friends with family that I trained from the ground up, that are still in the industry, and we still talk, and we are like family, dude. So that environment at work is everything. So like I said, I'm blessed to have the crew that I have right now, and that they actually like to come to work. They enjoy this shit, you know?
Yeah.
So like we make fire and everybody's stoked about it. You know, I always give a round of applause for my hash washers, like just to be goofy, you know what I mean?
I mean, and when you have that culture and everybody cares about each other, you want to create the best product. And you guys are like, oh, we can do this. Like, yo, we are the team.
Yes.
To do this.
Exactly. And they care about everything from yield to quality. And if it's like, you know, we have a lot of eyes on it, so if it really doesn't pass the test, it just doesn't pass the test, you know what I mean? Like you said, we put out that real dark stuff, but I decided to really put it out there because of the taste and the effect. It was just so old school. It was a real headband effect, you know what I mean? Like that old school headband, and it's like energetic. You don't, dude. And it's super energetic, like not racy, but like the other day I smoked it all day going up to NorCal, right, driving, and it was like I had an energy drink. Seriously, it was great. No come down, nothing, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, the people's energy goes into that shit, whether you believe it or not.
Awesome. And then, so if somebody's trying rosin for the first time, maybe they've dabbed a couple times, what kind of sets rosin apart from the other types of wax? And why is it most important to you?
So I never was a rosin hash man. I came from, like I said, BHO distillate, you know, just, I'm not gonna call them shit extracts because everything has its purpose. But the difference between rosin and other extracts is rosin and hash is as close as you can get to the effect of smoking marijuana like a bowl.
Yeah.
For sure.
No,
you know what I mean? And that's the difference, that's it. There's no difference, it's pure. And there's no difference in quality, this and that. Everybody has their opinion and their preference. Some people like diamonds because it smacks the fuck out of you, right? Some people like rosin because it's like smoking a bowl. And it is really nice and mellow and you can really gradually come up to your high versus like some people that just want to get there.
Yeah,
you know?
no, absolutely.
There's a difference between beer and I guess alcohol.
Yeah. So rosin has to be extracted, of course. Do you guys grow your own flower or do you work with a company to take your flower?
So since we are so new, we are still working with various farms and trying to make those relationships to where it's worth it for them as well, to where we can kind of, I guess, vertically integrate in that sense, to where we really don't have to search for it, you know. But for right now, we are continuously searching for it. So I manage the lab right now, and I'm procuring, I guess, for us as far as fresh frozen. So
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with a startup company that a lot of people don't realize, especially cannabis. You have 10 different hats in a week,
bro.
Like
Tell
you have
me
to do
about it.
everything, and it's not. You can't really complain about it. You have to. This is what we have to do to get it done. And so, all right, cool. Next one. What am I doing today?
Yep. And that's the difference between loving your job and liking your job, right? I absolutely love my job. Like you said, I wear so many fucking hats. I manage this, and that, you know, do all this stuff, but at the end of the day, I love it. So, and especially seeing the end product and then seeing my employees doing it and loving it, it's like I said, blessed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
No, and that's why I say, even people ask me, like, oh, how's it working? I'm like, even after a long day and it's been so shit, I get home, I smoke a bowl, and I'm like, oh wait, I sell weed. Like, I'm in the cannabis industry.
You know what I mean?
I'm good. This is a good day.
Yeah, it's not a fucking
I used to have to work, like you're saying, low-end jobs, so I'd be bartending, busting, stuff like that. I clean up puke and stuff after drunks. Like, I'll deal with stoners all day, every day.
Construction, like, people don't understand, like, what real hard work is.
Oh my God,
dude.
Yeah, and oil rigs that people are working on.
Real blue-collar shit.
I'll take cannabis all day, every day, and I'm happy for it, blessed for it.
Blessed for it for sure, but you know what? Those traits and those things are definitely valuable though to have in your tool. Because I do a lot of mechanics, I do a lot of fabrication, I do like rock crawling with like buggies, right? So I have like a mechanic side to it, and that translates over to extraction big time, because essentially all these are machines. They're just machines.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And you have to understand and be able to break down the machine to be able to do everything too, because or else you're gonna have to be calling these companies all the time, hey, my machine's broke, do you know? I don't know. You know, so
you can't. You're gonna run your company into the ground
100%,
and make no profit.
Yeah. So those traits, man, it's a dying industry, and those are dying traits, but they're extremely important for people to know that.
So as being the lead extractor and everything, what is the biggest thing you look for when you're choosing a plant or the next strain to create?
So hash, unfortunately, is mostly strain specific. The genetics are getting better, right? So with hash, you have to knock the trichome head off, and then some plants, the trichome stalk is like just as big as the trichome head, so it's harder to knock off. Sometimes they're called weak head trichomes, so the stalk will come and it'll taper off, and then you'll have your trichome head, and those are really good for hash, right?
Yeah.
So right now, unfortunately, we go for specific strains. There's like a list of maybe 10, 15 different strains that supposedly yield well for hash, right? So we kind of try to stay within those guidelines, but also harvesting, right? So there's SOPs for harvesting. If you're doing fresh frozen, especially hash, you kind of have to be really delicate with the plant, so you're not knocking trichome heads off, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's where all the flavors come in, the effects. Like, you really need those trichomes and the terps.
100%. So it needs to go from harvest into the freezer within 20 minutes. Yeah, and that's a real
plants.
SOP.
You're not doing one plant at a time.
So if you can stay within those 20 minutes, you're fucking winning for terps, right? So the way it's packaged, the way it's harvested, and then me, now that I've gone through a bunch of different materials, I can tell visually that shit's gonna dump. Like the other day, we got some test wash for Fatso and LA Kush cakes and some garlic cookies. And just by seeing the material, I knew right away. I was like, this shit's gonna dump. And it did. 6% fucking rosin, 75, 80%, 6% hash, 75, 80% rosin, right? Yeah. So right now, unfortunately, we're visually looking, and then I also do test wash. So I'll take like 20 grams in a jar, put it in nice, it'll be frozen. I'll put it in some nice cold water, or if it's fresh, you just put it in there and get it cold. Shake it around with ice, just like you do for regular hash, right? You let it settle, and then for me, since I do 20 grams, I visually look for a gram, and that's 5%, right? Just for me. I'm not weighing, it's just visual for me. So if I do that, I can know like this is gonna dump, then I can commit to 100 plus pounds, right? But recently, I just got what's called a resin dial. Shout out to Resin Dial. They're new.
Okay.
So it's basically, so instead of, you can do your test wash, but now they have filter plates that are stacked and they fit right into all wide mouth mason jars.
Oh,
yeah.
That is super
You know what I'm saying, dude? So
there's so many different styles of jars you're using, but
exactly, right? So it's like just a classic jar mouth, so it fits with a lot of things. So what you do is you can test wash, and now you can put it upside down and run them through the filters, the microns, and you can get an actual respective yield. So you can like have more of a grasp on that yield, because at the end of the day, we are a business, so we have to make sure that everything makes sense financially, you know what I mean? So yield is everything, but right now, like I said, shout out to Resin Dial, dude, because they changed the game with that. Before it was visual, and everybody was like, yeah, I think it's a gram, you know what I mean? Now,
absolutely.
Fucking know it's a gram, so that's what I look for.
So anybody that's getting started new in the extract business, what's some advice you would give them, or yourself back in the day? Because
learn. That's it. Learn as much as you can, whether it's Google, people, new people, old people, it doesn't matter. Just learn and make sure you're learning the right things, and then make sure you're safe. Because rosin and hash is safe, but all the other forms of extract can be very, very dangerous. Especially not even just volatiles. A lot of people are doing conversions, right? And you're dealing with chemicals that you need fume hoods, you need real labware to deal with, and people are using this shit in their house. So learning and safety is the biggest thing I would suggest to somebody getting into it for sure.
And I think that's the biggest part in legalization, is because what you're getting on the market, especially you see in edibles, but in parts we had the issue with people putting in different oils and the vitamin E and things like that.
Yeah.
So going legal, there's a reason, because you're getting the best quality, and we're proving why it's the best quality with our testing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. You just want to shout out to where people can find you, or where to find Paradox, and ways to help grow.
Absolutely. We're at Past the Paradox on Instagram, and it's pasttheparadox.com for our website. And then on our Instagram, you can find a whole list of dispensaries we're in, as well as like the website. And I want to shout out to everybody on the Paradox team, from sales to ownership to my team. You guys make it happen for real. Thank you.
And I love seeing somebody give credit to it. And I met a lot of the Paradox team, and you guys are fantastic people to work with. And I hope you guys just blow up, because the product's great, the team's great, and what you guys are providing is what is needed in the cannabis industry.
I appreciate it. I just want to put out healing medicine, to be honest, dude.
Yeah.
So our crew translates that energy into the product, I can tell you that.
Yep. So you'll taste that healing in every dab.
Damn right, whether it's good or bad.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.